as I mentioned to you earlier, having come from the cement industry myself, I am very much impressed by the achievements that this industry has made over the past few years. Today, if you look at the cement industry in India, it's basically serving the needs of the entire population, give or take about 325 million tons. There is basically a substantial amount of capacity that's still available to be used. So on the balance, given that cement has got such an important role to play in every aspect of our life, starting from housing to infrastructure and so many other areas basically, I think the role of the cement industry, we are just barely scratching the surface given the growth trajectory that our country is taking now. And I believe that as we basically sustain the overall GDP growth of say 7+ % points for the next few years, the importance of cement as a building material and also as an industry which creates employment for so many people in the entire value chain is going to become even more critical basically. So on the balance, I would say that this industry is still to see many more days or years to come which will be of tremendous growth, and it will be basically in my opinion going to be a very key part of the overall economy. So given that it is a product which is required in such large quantities, it is but natural that an industry like this will leave a footprint which impacts the environment in some shape or form. And it is quite commendable to see the actions which are being taken by this industry to ensure that the footprint or the impact on the environment is minimized or even to a large extent remain neutral basically. So for example, there are many companies in the industry which are trying to be water neutral, or for that matter, if you look at the usage of fly ash, which is a byproduct of the industry, to ensure that it is basically recirculated back into the building material basically. So these are the kind of things which basically ensure that cement industry has a role to play in being a sustainable partner in growth and development. I think if you look at the developments that have taken place in the last few years on the energy consumption parameters, it is quite commendable to see the kind of reduction that has been achieved to produce the same or even more quantities of cement. So on a per the specific consumption of heat, for example, for a ton of cement has been steadily going down. And all of these actions point towards an intent of making the industry as sustainable as possible. I think what the industry really needs to do, given that it has a predominance, the choice of fuel that it uses is basically a key driver in ensuring that the environmental footprint that it creates is as minimal as possible. To that extent, I think the industry has a very key role to play in making sure that it chooses the right fuels which go beyond, let's say, the immediate cost considerations, and making sure that while the efficiency aspect is always going to be critical, but at the same time making sure that the byproducts of the industry are minimized to that extent, let's say carbon emissions and so on and so forth. So my suggestion to the industry would be to continue work on this front, and I'm sure that India will be basically one of the benchmarks of the industry on the sustainability front.